This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. The government is facing a key test with its Taswater takeover plans being considered by the upper house this week. A parliamentary inquiry has cast doubt on the government's calls of a crisis in Tasmania's water and sewerage sector, and councils say ratepayers could be left worse off.
The Premier faced an uphill battle doing the Point to Pinnacle on Mount Wellington today.
Getting up there?
Perhaps a more testing challenge will be the government's week ahead in Parliament. Treasurer Peter Gutwin urging upper house members to pass the Taswater takeover bill.
It's a sensible reform, and I would hope that they would support it. But as I've said, if they've got suggestions that they want to bring forward to improve the bill, then our door is open.
The government says Taswater's infrastructure isn't up to scratch, proposing to take over the provider from councils with promises of faster upgrades and at a lower price. But a parliamentary inquiry has questioned the so-called crisis, saying Taswater could take on more debt to fund upgrades, but is operating in a financially sustainable manner.
This shows that there's no crisis in the water business in Tasmania, and we should be supporting Taswater with getting on with doing the job that they've been vested with.
The takeover is backed by social services and several business groups, but it will be for upper house members to decide its fate this week. The 4 Labor members won't be backing the takeover.
I have had some conversations with some of the independent members. I know there are a number of concerns. There are some questions that will need to be asked, and in light of the report that came out last week from the Committee of Inquiry, I think there will be more questions and more concerns that will need to be addressed.
Another concern is the loss of dividends to councils after 2025, with worries it could force some to hike rates.
After that, they'll receive 50% of the returns from the business. And the modelling that we provided to the inquiry demonstrates that the business will be profitable post that period.
The distributions are not guaranteed after that point, and indeed we don't know what level of profit Taswater will earn after that time.
One mountain conquered by the Premier, but another looming. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Members of the Australian Greens are celebrating 25 years hosting their national conference in the party's birth state. Leader Richard Di Natale telling attendees power-sharing governments are the future for democracy. A message sent months out from the Tasmanian election.
One of the issues I know that was raised was the industrial-scale fish farming that's going on off the coast and the destruction of those pristine habitat. And I know many people in the community are very worried.
We'll be campaigning hard on those issues coming up to the state election to present Tasmanians with a real alternative and to put the case for power-sharing parliaments.
The state election is expected in March. A number of fire crew remain at the scene of a structure fire in Westbury. They're expected to be at Tasmanian alkaloids for some time as they work to cool off more than 1,000 tonnes of poppy straw, which ignited on Friday. Tasmania Fire Service say the fire has been contained to smoke now, and cooling off will take some time to make sure it doesn't flare up. The smoke from the smouldering poppy straw led to a warning for the area, which has now been cleared. It's been a record-breaking 4th straight win for Launceston's Dylan Evans, conquering another Point to Pinnacle in warmer than usual conditions. Thousands took on the world's toughest half marathon this morning, many smiling through the pain.
It didn't take long to warm up as temperatures started climbing early, thousands loosening up the muscles with more than 21 gruelling kilometres ahead.
We're going to have a really nice view of Hobart as well, but it's also going to be quite hot, I think, quite challenging.
It's a beautiful day. Great vibes. You train for weeks in preparation for it.
My mum entered me into this one and just told me I was doing it, so I've been training a little bit in London, but it's very flat there.
But the time for training was over as the journey to the summit of Mount Wellington began. Clear skies and warm weather calling for increased hydration, messages of motivation for those feeling the burn.
Going good, that's it, keep it up, mate!
It didn't get easier as the uphill battle set in. Frontrunner Dylan Evans keeping pace, vying to hold on to his title. The challenge sending some bananas, others smiling through the pain.
Yeah, loving it. Good, awesome. Great day. Woo!
It's this section of the marathon between the Springs and the Pinnacle that participants say is the toughest, as the elevation climbs by more than 470 metres.
Come on, Rose. Woo! Oh, yeah. What a day. What a magnificent day, Rosa. Yeah, buddy. Immense help.
The finish line in sight for Launceston's consecutive Pinnacle champ. Evans now the first to conquer the mountain 4 times in a row in just over an hour and 27 minutes.
Doesn't matter if I win or lose or how I go, but it's just the local race, and it's just something special about running to the top of a mountain. And yeah, getting number 4, it's definitely something that I think the pressure's going to get bigger and bigger every year.
Crossing the line first for the females after a second place last year, Miriam Dowie claiming a course record with a time of 1 hour and 38 minutes.
To be honest, I wasn't thinking of anything, just thinking, put one foot in front of the other, and I tried to stay as relaxed as possible and comfortable and just set my pace.
A rewarding view for those resting tired legs. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Judges are pouring through hundreds of entries to decide the winners at the Royal Hobart Wine Show. Winemakers from across the state and the country have submitted their creations with the hopes of scoring a coveted medal.
This is the job ahead for judges at the Royal Hobart Wine Show. 1,680 wines to taste, score and rank.
We take it across all the states in Australia, so we get entries from Western Australia through to the Hunter Valley and everywhere across, and we do all the different varieties.
In a careful process, glasses are lined up and wines are poured while judges are out of the room. This is a blind tasting, meaning they don't know what's in front of them.
So what we tend to do is go through in small brackets and we'll look at 5 wines together. Then we'll reflect upon how they sit against each other.
Jane Skilton is a master of wine who's flown from overseas to help judge.
So what are you tasting there?
That's quite a big, rich style of Shiraz. Lots of plummy fruits, a bit of oak, a bit of alcohol.
They'll give bronze, silver and gold medals to the top wines in several categories. These awards are more than a marketing tool and bragging rights.
Every medal is very important because you're being judged against your peers, and it's all being judged blind in all the same conditions.
This is how we try and improve what we're doing with making wine in Australia, and so it's basically a feedback process, and that discussion of style is really important.
With a lot to get through, tasting fatigue can be an issue. To help freshen their palates, judges alternate between red and white, take regular breaks and, of course, spit.
Absolutely. So you see, all got spittoons. If we weren't spitting, we'd probably be rolling on the ground with our scones at morning tea. So.
Awards will be announced on Saturday. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Back home, and cyclists of all ages were out in force today, braving the heat to raise funds for youth suicide prevention. More than 500 people took part in the annual Sally's Ride, some as young as 5.
A sea of serious cyclists donning the lycra amid hundreds of families enjoying the sun. From the young to the experienced, the annual Sally's Ride saw more than 500 on their bike this year to raise vital funds.
We would hope to raise between $25,000 and $30,000, I reckon, today. So this fundraiser has been fantastic for the last 9 years that the Rotary Club has run it, and we've probably raised in excess of $200,000 for local youth suicide prevention charities.
All thanks to Sally Fletcher, who started the ride many years ago cycling on her own. Now the popular event run by the Rotary Club of Launceston attracts hundreds from across the state.
Hundreds of people are here. We've had to put on another community family ride today because there's so many people that have entered. It just really blows your mind.
Her motive behind it all is to raise awareness of youth mental health issues.
As a registered nurse of 40-something years, I thought maybe I could help the young kids I'd looked after. Maybe I could increase community awareness into mental health issues in the state and try and help fund some of the projects that are already running.
A new family-friendly ride was a hit this year.
family rides attracted more than a couple of hundred non-lycra wearing cyclists. So that's really what we need to do, is to encourage family activity.
Just to get outdoors, get active, and it's for a good cause, so why not support it?
A fantastic cause, and it's great to have all the families here, and particularly a ride like this where the kids can get involved.
It's good to support the kind of cycling community and some charities along the way.
Proceeds raised from the ride have helped thousands across the state in recent years. Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's iconic Festival of Roses has again proved to be a success, drawing crowds of up to 10,000 people from across the nation. The annual event highlights the historic Woolmers Estate Rose Garden, as well as the state's finest produce.
Spring has truly sprung. Thousands of roses blossoming in manicured gardens. The Festival of Roses showing off Tasmania's finest flowers, boosting tourism to the state.
This is something which could be of great significance to Tasmanian tourism. You have the climate, you have the roses, you have the spectacle, and there's the capacity for a lot of people.
Gardening presenter Jerry Colby-Williams has come to Tasmania just for the event. He says it's truly one of a kind.
This is a completely unique experience here. The combination of antiques, a heritage site, beautiful spring roses, plus all the other stallholders here. It's a real happening.
I think it puts Longford on the map. We've seen a lot of interstate visitors today that will be back.
The annual event raises vital funds for the World Heritage Site, which is now celebrating 200 years. This event injects more than $500,000 back into the community and to Woolmers Estate. Organisers say the money goes towards maintaining the building and the heritage-listed garden. Not only did people stop to smell the roses, they also got a taste of Tasmania's finest produce with more than 120 stallholders to choose from.
Compared to last year, we had bad weather. Everyone's been really supportive. People have just been flowing in and been receiving really good feedback from patrons saying they're having a great day.
Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
A young Tasmanian with big dreams is preparing for his biggest challenge yet, tackling the gruelling Three Capes track. Living with paraplegia hasn't stopped 10-year-old Sam King from adventure, and next year will be no different. But it will be a team effort as Sam strives to help others just like him.
10-year-old Sam is known for his love of adventures, but next year will be his biggest, strapping in for a wild ride over the Three Capes track.
How does it feel, Sam?
It's good.
Comfortable up there?
Yeah.
Sam was born with a spinal cord injury paralysing him. Variety helping the young Tasmanian with what they call a second skin, allowing Sam to be independent in a wheelchair.
Sam was one of the first Variety children that I met nearly 5 years ago when I first came on board. We granted Sam a dynamic movement orthosis suit to help him with his core stability.
Since then, Sam has been able to participate in a number of activities, but he's never had the opportunity to go bushwalking, despite his passion for the outdoors, a challenge realised while his mother was walking the overland track.
He's never done this kind of thing before, simply because it's just not possible in a wheelchair.
She said that when she got back, Sam would be the one that would sit and look through the photos with her, and that was the only opportunity he would get out in the wilderness. So of course I had a little think and thought, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if we could get him on a track?
An opportunity the daring 10-year-old was more than willing to take up, inspiring a fundraising effort with Sam hoping to help others like Variety helped him.
People like me to get a wheelchair.
He's a very determined and very independent little boy who wants to kind of do everything that everyone else does.
There's going to be 15 to 20 volunteers that are each going to share in carrying Sam along the journey, the 3-day trek, and raise some fantastic funds for more children that need our assistance.
The goal is to raise $20,000 for Variety before the trek in March next year.
There's some rocks up ahead.
The fundraiser at the Salty Dog in Kingston next Sunday, hoping to boost Sam's effort.
Much prefer going down here, buddy.
As the training continues, Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
It was a double win for the township of Penguin today, crowned State Basketball League champions in both the men's and women's grand finals. The women's team fought back from 12 points down early to overrun Kingborough Huon 61 points to 38. while in the men's decider, Penguin proved too strong for a determined Somerset heat, taking out the final 83 points to 70, with Ben Richmond starring for the Blues, scoring a massive game-high 30 points.
Good evening. Warm weather across the state today with conditions approximately 5 to 10 degrees above average. Campania, the state's high with 31 degrees. Hobart reached 27, 28 in Launceston. Burnie and Devonport both 22. Bushy Park 30 today, 28 in Strawn and Grove. Flinders Island 25, 24 for Friendly Beaches. Both St Helens and Maria Island 23, 22 at Wynyard and King Island, and 20 degrees for Low Head and Liaweenie. Cloud can be seen with a low pressure trough extending across the northwest of the country into South Australia. A cold front is to the southwest of WA. On the close-up, there is convective cloud over the north and southwest with mostly clear skies elsewhere. Not much changing tomorrow with the high pressure system remaining over the Tasman Sea with low pressure troughs persisting over northwestern and central Australia. Coastal waters, winds 10 to 20 knots across the state with seas 1 to 2 metres. Tomorrow the hot weather continues in the south with Ouse expecting 31 degrees. Hobart sunny with 27 and Dover 24. In the north, Launceston will be partly cloudy but still reaching 27, 25 for Scottsdale, Devonport 21. To the west, Strawn expecting a mostly sunny 27, 21 and partly cloudy for Burnie, Stanley 19. Swansea a mostly sunny 25, St Helens 22, Ross cloud clearing 29 degrees. The UV is very high with mostly 10s across the state. Looking ahead to Tuesday now, fine and mostly sunny across the state. Wednesday also fine and mostly sunny. Thursday partly cloudy with possible afternoon showers about the central areas and southwest. To the rest of the country now, sunny conditions for Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Canberra and Sydney. Possible showers and storms for Cairns, Darwin and Alice Springs. Currently it is 23 and clear in Hobart, Launceston 23 and clear, Devonport 19 and clear. And Rachel, it looks like there's going to be plenty more of this lovely weather through the week.
Sounds lovely. Thank you for that, Carmen. That's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Good night.